Hello, all you hardcores out there. How you doing? It's Russ here from Porky's Corner, the biggest gob in sport, and still, should I say. Today we're joined by Bob. How you doing, Bob? You all right?
I'm good, thank you, Russ. How are you doing? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Fantastic, mate. Have you had a good week?
Yeah, it's a beautiful day here. We've gone from winter wonderland to sunny and dry, so it'll soon be time to start mowing the lawn again.
Yeah. So you've been playing golf, haven't you, lad?
Yeah, got my first swing of the bats in yesterday. It's amazing, when you don't play from October through to April, anything you think you know, you've forgotten.
Yeah.
So it's like Groundhog Day. It's like every season starts off completely shite.
Dripping Tap, give me a set of golf clubs. Ping. Have you heard of them? Good make, aren't they?
Sorry, what was that? Somebody disturbed me there. I'll just turn my other device off. So Dripping Tap gave you a set of golf clubs, and what was the rest of it?
Ping. They were called Ping.
Oh yeah, Ping is a good brand. Yeah,
About eight
very
and a
good
half
brand.
grand's worth.
Oh, I'm not surprised. They're a good brand.
I'm not a golfer though, me. I'm crazy golfer at Skeggy or Bridlington. I'm all right at that. I like it if I've had a drink and I'm walking around with a kiss me quick out on a stick of candy floss. But I gave Kevin who owns factory where my studio is, and I don't even know if he's used them. I see these will keep you fit, Kevin. And I don't because he's looking, he's got a new gym at his gaff and that, and he's looking to get fit. But I don't know if he's been out using them, but they're really good to keep you fit, aren't they? Golf's good for being fit, and the shitter you are, the more you're walking for your ball, aren't you, Bob?
Well, that's right. If you're a really good golfer and you walk in a straight line, you're not going to get as many steps as if you do army golf. Left, right.
Yeah, my idea of golf is going out backfield where I used to live and whacking balls 200 metres at the school I used to go to and putting windows through, in 6 week holidays. That's what I used to do. I had a free iron club. I used to whack it as I get loads of golf balls from Crookhill. Just go out field and just keep whacking them at the school. That's my only interaction with golf and crazy golf.
Yeah, no,
Hmm.
I think somebody once said it's a good walk spoiled, but no, it's a fun thing to do. I like to do it a couple of times a week, get a bit of exercise, bit of fresh air. You know, it's uh,
Okay.
it's a nice thing to
Uh,
do.
did you watch the boxing at the weekend, Bob?
Yes, I did, and you can probably tell from my voice what I would have to say about it.
Right, well, I'm going to throw some statistics at you. I'm not going to talk about every fight because it were absolutely garbage. The boxer only ranked two fights out of the lot, didn't they? So, right, his average per fighter on the show was 369.6, which is Bricktop's lowest for 2.5 years. And he's low to say that he's got a DAZN deal. Now, Dennis Hobson got slaughtered for that one at weekend. His was 602 and he's got no TV money. So you'd say Dennis is punching above his weight, wouldn't you, for his resources compared to Bricktop?
Oh yeah.
The main event, it looked to me like it was Joyce and Ergovic. Joyce is pushing 40 in a couple of months. He's absolutely finished. What did you make of that?
Well, um, I'm trying not to express myself like Ryan would, though I think we would be on the same page. Um, to say I was underwhelmed would be an understatement. I did think that Joe Joyce was almost better than I had feared he would be, um, but it was very very slow. Um, it was like a slugfest. It wasn't what you would expect from fighters of that pedigree. Um, I was underwhelmed by the whole card. I was I was not impressed. I really, truly, honestly believe, and I've been a fan of Joe Joyce. I've liked Joe Joyce. I sort of, care about Joe Joyce, if you like, even though I've never met the man.
Yeah.
I really, truly believe that Joe Joyce should retire for the sake of his health. And I saw an interview that he conducted with one of the main channels in his dressing room, and he said People talk about CTE. I've still got my wits about me. And it just showed that he has missed the entire point of repetitive concussive blows. He's 40 years old in September. He's an educated man. He's undoubtedly got a few dollars in the bank. Please retire because, like, I'm 25 years older than Joe Joyce, and I dread to think what Joe Joyce will be like when he's my age.
Yeah. Ergovic, I don't think he's any great shakes either, do you, Bob?
No, I think at the end of the piece we might end up saying that Hergovic is the fellow who sort of underperformed expectations. I know he's only 32 and he could turn things around. Clearly got a very solid chin. I question his commitment to the sport. At one time, people were talking about him as though he was going to be the next Vitaly Klitschko. I think that you might say that he would be a pound shop version. Um, he has yet to really demonstrate the he's yet to live up to the expectations that many, many people have of him. And I don't think we're going to see great shakes from him. I might be wrong, but I'm not expecting him to get to that very highest level.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on from them two then. David Adelaide and Jamie Kichavira, or whatever it's called, KHH, forever. KFC, we'll call him. Probably
Yeah.
eats loads of it anyway. What do you make of that fight?
Um, okay. I think Sir Henry Cooper and other former British champions are spinning in their grave to think that those two fought for the Lonsdale belt. At one time, the Lonsdale belt was one, certainly in my view, was a prestigious belt. The
Yeah.
British heavyweight champion was somebody who could walk into a pub and the whole pub would go quiet. People looked up to be British heavyweight champion. It was an ambition of many young boxers to be British heavyweight champion. Everybody knew who the British heavyweight champion was. Neither of David Adelaide or Jamie TKV, in my view, performed at the level that I would expect to see a boxer perform at fighting for the British Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, I always say this. Bruce Woodcock, from where I'm from, up in Doncaster, he when he used to go into the local pub, the Tumbler, uh, people would clap. We said, "Get up, stand up." You know, to any young lads who didn't know what it was, stand up. British champion just walked in. It didn't matter if it were heavyweight or featherweight. It were a prestigious. It still is a prestigious belt in my eyes, and people don't seem to want to win the belt outright, and it breaks my heart. That it does
Well,
honestly.
we're on the same page, Ross. I mean,
Yeah.
as much as I like Fabio Wardley, and I would say I very much like Fabio Wardley, I'm nevertheless disappointed that he chose to relinquish the belt that so many great fighters in the past, um, gave everything for. Um, Adelaide and TKV. It was 5 rounds of horribleness, followed by 1 round of controversy. I thought the ref was a pest. I was actually talking to Andy from Andy's Cavern.
Yeah.
So I had the commentary on really, really low because I find that the zone commentary people annoy me at the best of times. And I was talking with Andy, and we were saying like the Andy said the ref was a pest, and I said he was like an old woman. He didn't really take control of the fight, and when he did, he basically interfered. So the 5 rounds of absolute dross, followed by 1 round of controversy, for which I actually don't blame David Adelaide. I blame the ref. Terrible, terrible, terrible performance, especially when you consider it's for a British heavyweight title.
Do you think, Bob, that Bricktop's fighters are getting preferential treatment from referees and judges and have been for quite a while now from the Board of Control? Yes or no?
Yes.
Do you think that if Jamie was with Bricktop and David was with Ben Shalom, Bricktop would be screaming blue murder? Do you think?
Yes.
Let's reverse back up now. Hamzad Shiraz against Carlos, what we called that the
Adames.
Adamus, yeah. Uh, he thought that could have gone either way. I don't know what planet he were on. That's just disappeared. That nobody's screaming for a damage, are they? But if that were Shiraz, there would be hell to pay, wouldn't there? Or if it were Moses Atome that got shafted, there'd be hell on.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
So Ben Shalom needs to lodge an appeal, but it'll fall on deaf ears because the board are Team Bricktop because he's been battling them years and they haven't got the funds to take him on, especially now he's riding high. So I expect that result to stay as it is. I expect the referee to be demoted and I expect a rematch to be called. That's what I think will happen. I don't know what you think.
What I think should happen is that it should be declared a no contest. What I think
No.
will happen is exactly as you said, a rematch will be ordered. I would hope that the referee is demoted and that the referee not be allowed to referee a fight of that level until he has had a significant retraining.
Do you feel, Bob, that these referees and judges that are making whopper decisions that are so outlandish, it's bordering on corruption or incompetence? Do you feel that these people that have made the decisions should come out and be answerable for their performance, just like a fighter has to come out and be answerable for his performance, whether he's won or lost?
Well, short answer is yes. Can I give a slightly longer answer?
Yeah, of course you can, mate. Go on.
So, quite frankly, I think that a referee should be forced to provide a written decision, very much like judges have to hand down written decisions when they, adjudicate cases. A referee should have to file a report with the British Boxing Board of Control, which is accessible then to both sides, explaining his decisions in writing and be held to account for the decisions he made. So, if a judge does something like with the Donovan Crocker fight, or like this past weekend
Yeah.
with the TKV and Adelaide fights, that judge should have to write a written report and then defend his report in front of a panel from the British Boxing Board of Control.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Uh, Bean, Mr. Super Bean, he's there on DAZN commentary. He's wormed his way in, the man that will leaving Sky to try different things. And he said that the Ben Eubank is a sellout and that people should subscribe to DAZN now to watch it. Are they trying to big DAZN up and forget about the paying fans, or are they accepting now that they're not going to sell it out? Because if you go on the website, it's nearly half sold out. So how can it be sold out?
Well, I think it's a tacit admission that the fight is, despite all the incredible hype, simply hasn't captured the imagination of the
The
of the
buying public, or do you think people have
ticket
not got
buying
money?
public.
Is there no money about, do you think?
Well, I don't know really what the economy is like over there, to be honest with you, but the ticket buying public are certainly choosing to spend their money elsewhere and not on this particular fight.
Mm.
Um, for me, even though I have a YouTube channel, I'm not paying for the pay-per-view for it either. So,
Yeah.
and
You're
that's,
right there.
like I have a channel and I'll be talking about it, but I'm going to wait to watch it on YouTube the following day. So, yeah, I'm not going to pay to watch it, and I think many people, probably in the UK, who would normally buy a ticket, are saying something very similar.
Okay, they're saying that the winner of David Allen against Johnny Fisher, aka the Lazy Rhino, and Elmer Fudd is going to fight the winner of David Adelaide and Jamie TKB, whatever it's called, if they have their rematch. Do you feel now at every fight now that's out there, there's a little bit of controversy, whether it be a press conference or during the fight, or and that they're just looking to do a rematch after rematch after rematch because everything's like a rematch now, isn't it? Because there's nowhere else to go, and it's just prolonging the outcome of just giving us the same old stuff, but served up on a different date and a different pair of boxer shorts in a different stadium. But it's basically the same old repeat, 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 repeat. Do you feel that that's where boxing's heading, Bob?
Yeah, well, I think it speaks to the quality of the product that the paying fans are being offered. And it might speak to the lack of depth because we have boxers who are staying on too long. So I call them retreads, tread tires that are retreaded. And the rematch plague seems to be really taken hold in boxing. Um, I'd like to see fresh faces coming through. Now, other guests of yours who are plugged into the gyms might be able to speak to this. I can't. But is there a shortage of fresh, promising, up and coming boxers? Like it's supply and demand. There's a demand for these fights, but is there a lack of supply coming in? And does that account for the fact that we are having these rematches and we're also having the retreads, the old boys? It's almost like the sort of the senior tour.
Do you mean people like Joe Joyce, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, Derek Chisora, Zhang, all that shower of shit?
Yeah, I mean, basically anybody who's 35 and older, right?
Yeah,
You will know as well as I that at one time 35 was almost that sort of
finished.
the cutoff age. If you were 35 and you were a heavyweight boxer, you were mostly done.
Yeah.
Um, Now we are seeing people, into their early 40s, just because George Foreman could do it after a 10-year layoff, or Vladimir Klitschko could do it, although quite frankly he couldn't. Um, we have all these people in their late 30s and early 40s acting as though they're still in their 20s. And I think it might have been Ryan, it might have been one of your other guests who drew an analogy to professional soccer. You don't see soccer players being the centre forward isn't 40 years old, right?
Unless he's Teddy Sheringham, but he played in old, didn't he? He didn't do any running. Everybody else did the running for him. Like Glenn Hoddle, he played to a high age, didn't he? 38 or something, didn't he? But
Yeah.
they didn't have, they were just passers, weren't they? Like a quarterback types, weren't
Yeah.
they? Yeah, I see where you're coming from with that. Well, they're not going to leave the sport, not when they can. They're not going to want to leave money on the table. In my opinion, it's just pure greed why they're hanging around the sport. But I don't think there's any stars coming through really. If Daniel Dubois is a star, and Nick Ball. They're the only two world champions we've got out from the UK. If they're the biggest stars in the UK, we've got problems in boxing because we've got two world champions and that's it. They're just them two. Everything else
Yeah.
is interim belts, intercontinental, continental, international. I don't see anybody wanting to shout out about the British title, which, like I said, it breaks my heart. And it's just all doom and fucking gloom, and it cheeses me off. I want some positivity, but we've got two world champions, but we're told by Super Bean and Bricktop constantly that boxing is booming. How can that be when we have two world champions in the UK that are male? We've got more female world champions in the UK than male. Now that's a damned indictment.
Well,
Yeah.
especially Ross, with respect to the heavyweight division, like it's not like the heavyweight division is flooded as in the 1970s with half a dozen world-class Americans. There is no real American world-class heavyweight boxer, so it's not like the Americans are crowding out the Brits. So you've got Dubois, you've got Fabio Wardley, who may be world class, and you've got Moses Atoma, who people are talking about, who might be world class.
Mind, you haven't even been hit yet.
But he hasn't been hit yet. He hasn't been tested yet. Um, so who else in Britain at the heavyweight level do you have that is even close to world class? Take away Dubois and take away Wardley and take away Atoma. Who
Wardley's
else?
31. He's no spring chicken, is he?
No spring chicken and not yet world class. I hope he is,
Yeah,
but but who else have you got?
nobody. That's it. So we're having to recycle Derek War Chisora. What next? They're going to dig Joe Bugner up. I don't know. Do you want to go on to part two, Bob?
Absolutely.
Cheers, mate. I'll see you on part two. All right.
You bet.
Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. Don't forget to follow Bob's channel, Canada's Boxing channel, and Andy's Cavern YouTube. Pop, pop, bang.